the corner, Berry.
Rick Berry has not missed a free throw against Washington. Now it is Berry. Back to Clifford Ray. Goes to Rick Berry.
Golden State getting that ball moving. Intended for Berry. Berry, look at that pass. Rick Berry, look at that shot, would you?
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Berry wants to make a move and three. There's a Berry. He's got his shot.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, that's it. We're here again. Rick Berry with his cohort, the surfman himself. Cyrus Saatsaz has been very busy with his life, as I'm sure we all are.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been busy as well. And, we kind of talk about anything and everything we want to talk about with a little bit of focus on our Golden State Warriors, since they are near and dear to my heart, although sometimes it's very painful. And I know Cyrus has got a lot of questions, a lot of things, but let's get this out of the way right away. First of all, I hope everybody had a great 4th of July celebration. And if you didn't celebrate the 4th of July, then get the hell out of the country. Okay. Thank you. So
I love it.
Let's get down to it. This is the time. This is the kind of stuff that's going on right now. When you turn to the talking heads, is total bullshit. Okay, because all it is using up time and getting paid to talk about stuff that's totally meaningless, and that is, the trades, this, that, and the everything. You know what I'm saying here? All the time. Make the trade, let them go, let them get there, and then have a substantive conversation, an intelligent conversation about what the heck is going on and how it's working out and what might be able to happen. But to speculate about all this stuff is a waste of my freaking time. I'd rather be out playing pickleball, okay? Or going fly fishing, or going for a bike ride, or exercising, doing anything other than talking about what trades might take place. I don't even want to get into the thing because, first of all, it's a whole new industry to be an expert on the salary cap.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, you really need to hire someone who is brilliant when it comes to figuring out all the ramifications of staying under the salary cap, what the penalty is going to be for this, matching salaries for these other guys and all. Okay, so when they get all that done and they're talking about it like these guys really know all this stuff, they think they got all the great information coming from that nobody else gets. Well, the only thing that matters is what trades were made and how they play when they get there and how they work together as a team, as a unit.
And not to mention, Rick, I'm your expert, sir. I mean, there's maybe like 5 or 6 people who are better at it than me, but I've studied this thing. I've interviewed so-called cap experts myself, and even they don't have answers for most things. So I could help you out if you ever have any questions.
You know what? And I don't, because I don't care.
I know, and that's okay. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's great that you are, and so you can talk intelligent.
I'm a resource for you, sir.
If we get some questions from people, you can handle all the answers to all that bullshit. Okay,
there you go.
I don't want to deal with it. All right.
I'm here for you.
I'm Clint Eastwood, Dirty Harry. A man has to know his limitations. Thank you, thank you, Dirty Harry. And I think that is just perfect. And here, my limitations are, I don't understand the salary cap. I don't know all the nuances of it, nor do I want to know it. It's kind of like, I don't want to learn how to tie flies when I go fly fishing. Okay.
It is overly complicated, Rick.
I am not really good at this fine motor skill finger thing. I don't do that. Okay. So it's the same. Salary cap, I don't do that. Don't expect anything coming from me with regard to that.
It's overly complicated, Rick. I feel like it's more complicated than it needs to be. That might be by design. That is a strategy a lot of different institutions implement to make things so difficult to comprehend. You don't even want to know at that point. And then people can get away with doing all sorts of malfeasance. So, but I'm with you. It is complex. I don't have all the answers, but I have most of them. And it's ridiculous in terms of how it's like a 680-page book, the CBA. Does it need to be that big? I don't think so, but here we are.
Well, they're trying to make it like a government agent,
yes.
Which nobody knows what the hell is going on. So anyway, so what's biggest on your mind here about what's happening with the Warriors outside of this other crazy stuff? And the same thing with regard to knowing what's going on, the draft picks. They didn't make this, they didn't do that. Hey, if they didn't do it, they didn't do it. Okay, right. It's too bad. I mean, I'm not going to talk about something that didn't happen. Who cares? Okay,
Well,
yeah, they tried to do something. Did it work? No, obviously it didn't. If it works and they bring somebody in, then we could talk a little bit about it.
Well, Rick, we can start with what the Warriors have done. We haven't. I don't think we've hosted a show since the Warriors made the trade now official. Today was, I believe, the first day where you can formally sign free agents. The moratorium is lifted, where you don't have to just negotiate. Now you can actually put pen to paper. And Chris Paul is a member of the Golden State Warriors.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so there's one that happened. The other thing is Draymond Green. We talked about that before. If you guys had listened into our other shows, we said, well, if Draymond's going to stay, Jordan Poole has to go,
Yeah,
and that's exactly what happened. They made the choice.
correct.
Do we keep Jordan Poole? And it's pretty easy when you start looking and reading stories about things that actually have some meaning, like some of the stories that are out there. Kawakami came up with a good one, with regard to the fact that Klay Thompson wasn't a big fan of Jordan Poole. Okay, and so when you have two of your three main players on your team that's had such incredible success
Right.
over a long period of time, it's a pretty good indication as to the decision that's going to be made by the management. I mean, you're
Correct.
not going to keep a guy around that two of those guys don't particularly care to have on their basketball team. And
Correct.
on top of it, after a huge contract, I mean, he had a nice season, averaged 20 points. I mean, hey, it's tough to average 20 points in the NBA for a lot of people, okay? 90-something% of the people who played the sport will never average 20 points in the NBA for one season. And he did some nice things, but man, come playoff time, I mean, he disappeared. He went to the closet and never came out. I mean, oh God.
Right. Right.
I don't know what the hell happened. Maybe he went to the door. He thought it was a stairway to the basement. And he fell down and he never could get up. I don't know what happened, but
Well,
he was a shadow of himself in the playoffs.
yes, he was. A lot of people were, though. Klay Thompson was too. But let me ask you this: in the NBA, there's on average each year there's 450 players, right? You got 15 roster spots, 30 teams, although most of them probably fill 14. But regardless of those 450, in your opinion, how many of them could average 20 points per game?
Not a lot.
Really? So it is more difficult, or it
Well,
is.
I mean, the only way it could happen is if somebody decided they were going to go ahead and make them a focal point, let them get 20 shots a game.
That's what I'm saying. So let's say of the 450 players in the NBA, how many of them, if you made them a focal point, could give you 20 points? Disregard efficiency,
Oh,
disregard,
yeah,
you know.
well, yeah. I mean, the majority of them could get 20 for you.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
I'm just
if
trying
they
to
were,
understand.
if, but that's a big little word. If with the capital
Right,
IF.
right.
If they were made a focal point of the team's offense, but to score 20 points a game, if you're not the focal point, that's why Jordan Poole was not a focal point of their offense. To score 20 points a game, I mean that's impressive.
Okay, that's what I was trying to get to. Is because he averaged 20 points a game, but his almost every shooting percentage regressed. His turnovers went up.
Right.
Defensively, he was a borderline traffic cone. So I guess I was trying to figure out if that 20 points is something that
Well,
could.
you know me. I've talked about it before. I mean, it make a big deal. I don't think 20 points is difficult to do. Okay.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Exactly. Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
what I was trying to.
so here's the thing. So I'll break it down for those of you who try to understand what I've said before, who may not have heard me talk about this. So in a basketball game, let's say I'm only going to get to play 28 to 30 minutes, which is a nice amount of minutes for a guy who's coming off the bench and doing stuff. So
Yes,
you're
sir.
playing in that area.
Yes, sir.
So, okay. So you play with the team. If you play fast break basketball, you should be able to, in that amount of time, I say, get 4 points in transition. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, a layup or something off a trend. You should be able to get 4 points in a full game in an up-tempo game. So that's 4. Let's say that you average 14, 12, let's just go low, 12 shots a game. Okay. So if you take 12 shots a game, and let's say you take 12 shots a game, let's make it 14 and you get 11 3-pointers. So you get 11 2-point shots and 3 3-pointers in a game, and you only make 1 3-pointer. So now that's 5, right? You're up to 7. Okay, 7. You get 1 offensive rebounds, hustling, doing stuff, and try to get one of those in a game. You're up to 9. Now, you're going to get the ball and get those shots, but you're also going to drive to the basket and try to get to the free throw line. Let's say you should be able to get yourself 5 points at the free throw line. Where are you? 16?
Yeah.
5 points there. You're at 16 points, right? You had 6 8s. So now you had 11 shots. Hell, if you only made 4 out of 11 or 3 out of 11 shots, You got 20.
There you go.
How hard is it to get 20?
There you go. So, and
But here's the thing. You have to have a well-rounded game.
right.
You can't be one or two dimensional.
Correct. I agree
Right?
wholeheartedly.
And if you don't know how to play good team defense, the individual defense should not be the criteria of whether a player plays or not. It should be his team defense, because you win with team defense, not individual defense. That's a bonus. Somebody to go out and say, I'm going to buy the guy because he's a great individual defender. Well, if he sucks as a team defender, I'm not really that interested in him. Okay, because if he's a great individual defender, a good player is going to kick his butt a bunch of times and get a lot of easy baskets, and the other guys are going to have to cover for him. But everybody should be covering for one another in team defense. Nobody should be able to get an easy basket.
Right.
If anybody dribble a ball off the floor, he gets all the way to the basket. Boy, that team should be ashamed of themselves.
I'm with you. I totally agree.
Seriously. And so that's the criteria. And I want team defenders. I want guys who understand help defense, who understand ball-man relationship, who understand rotations and can help and shut things down. That's what you want, and that's what you have to focus on.
Right.
And then if you get a guy who's a tough defender who can make a guy work a little harder, because as you know, I don't feel anybody can shut down a scorer. I mean, it's never going to happen. The greatest defender will never shut down a great scorer. It's never going to happen.
I'd shut you down, Rick, in a second. I'm kidding.
Yeah, exactly. If you had a gun. Okay, so here's the thing: is that's the important part of it. And if you get those guys who are tough individual defenders, that makes your defense tougher. Why? Because the good players have to work harder, take a few more shots, but he still has to be a team defender. It's critical.
Sir. And side note, even with the gun, I don't think I could stop you. But continue.
Well, yeah, with the gun you can stop a lot of things. But let's not talk about guns, because then John Morant will get back on the show. I don't know. So anyway, I'm in rare form today for some reason. I don't know.
You're always in rare form, and it's a good thing. I love it. But you haven't shared your thoughts yet on Chris Paul. Like, how do you?
Well, you mentioned that. I just wanted to get the Draymond Green thing out of the way.
Okay.
They made the commitment to him, and justifiably so.
Yeah.
And I mean, just think about because he's getting paid so much money for the intangibles that he brings, not his stats.
Right.
His stats are not overly impressive, right?
Yeah, he's a triple single man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's a good one. I like that. Hey, he's a player. He's a triple single guy.
But let me ask you this: some people are upset, members of Dub Nation, because they feel like Draymond Green was rewarded for physically assaulting a teammate of his with a 4-year, $100 million contract. What are your thoughts to those folks?
Well, I don't think it was a good thing that he did that. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, there's no real cause for that. That's losing your composure totally and completely. I mean, you just don't do that kind of thing. I mean, you're mad at somebody, you don't, but you don't cold cock somebody and sucker punch him. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, and I do think down deep inside he feels badly, but I don't think he particularly likes him. He doesn't like him because he doesn't do the things that Draymond wants his teammates to do to win.
Right.
From the team concept.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And that's a critical element to it. And I think that Clay feels the same way. I mean, he made some comments and stories I read about that as well. Steph smartly didn't say anything because, like, what is it that what people always say? Well, my mother always said, if you can't say something good about somebody, don't say anything at all. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And your wife has emphasized that as well. Smart woman,
yeah.
Rick.
Well, I think that it's going to be interesting to see what happens in Washington with him. But good luck to him. He's gone. He's no longer a part of the team.
Correct.
I'm still a little bit dismayed because I really thought that I was seeing some progress by Kuminga. And, I've talked about him from the day I saw him in Summer League a few years ago.
Yeah.
That he does have a feel for the game. He can create. He sees the court. He can make passes to people. So he can be that warrior kind of player.
Right.
Who looked like his three-point shooting was getting better. I mean, hell, if I was Clay or Steph, I'd have that sucker out there working with him all the time to make him into the kind of player you want him to be. Be a 35 or better three-point shooter, 35% or better.
Well, he is. This last year, he shot, I think, 38,
37. Get him up there, and his goal should be to be a 40% three-point shooter.
Right.
So he was improving in that area. He's got the athleticism. There's some things I'd love to show him that help him get to the basket, use his athleticism even more, and his quickness. But he can finish strong. He makes some plays sometimes. You go, oh boy, wish I could do that.
Right.
And he's working, trying to play the defense. But I just thought I thought he has a big upside. I think he still does have a big upside. I really do. But I don't know, for whatever reason. And as I say before, I'm not at practice. I don't know what's going on. I don't know the inner workings of what's taking place when they're all together and getting ready for games and doing things. But something had to happen for him to not hardly play.
Well, and let me know. I'd love your thoughts on this. Steve Kerr said the reason why he didn't play in the postseason was because of the fact that Andrew Wiggins came back. I guess that's where a lot of Kuminga's minutes came from in the second half of the season. And I thought he rewarded Kerr with that opportunity. I thought he played exceptionally, and the measurables confirmed that. But between Gary Payton II coming back at the very end of the season and then Andrew Wiggins coming back, Kerr's explanation was that there just wasn't room for Kuminga. To me, that's a very rigid way of thinking. It's like, why lock him into that one position? Why not have both those guys play together? What are your thoughts on that? That was what Kerr said.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you that there's at times you can play them together, but I think the determining factor is how well are the guys that he wants to give the minutes to playing.
Right.
I mean, I don't think during that series that for sure Wiggins wasn't shooting the ball really well. He was horrible a couple of games, especially from 3-point range. And so, so maybe if that's the case, you give the other guy a shot and see if he's doing it. And hey, I want you to go in there, you'll look for your three. If he's making them, well, now you want to keep him in there because he's doing a little better job of that. But I'm not saying taking anything away from Wiggins. Remarkable that he played as well as he did, missing as much time as he did.
Right.
But that was the one thing I was concerned about. But actually, he did very well considering that, but his outside shooting was not good. I mean, he was really bad in a couple of games, especially for three-point. I mean, there was one of the games. I think, hell, if he had just shot any kind of a decent percentage from 3-point range, they would have won.
I think over two game span, I think he was like 3 for 16 from
maybe worse than that. It was
maybe
bad.
Worse. Yeah.
So but and again, that's what the coaches. That's what he's getting paid for. You got to go sometimes with your gut feeling. Seeing things.
Yeah.
Sometimes you make the right move. Sometimes you don't make the right move, and it's easy to sit there and be to second guess a coach and to be a backseat driver or whatever other cliche you want to use. And a lot of people have a tendency to do that, especially the talking heads.
There's a little reduction in the talking heads. ESPN laid off some folks there.
A whole bunch of people they laid off. Yeah, they really did. I mean,
but let me ask you this: I agree with you that it's a bit disingenuous to second guess to play the Monday morning quarterback role. But
there's another cliche, the Monday morning quarterback. That's another one.
But do you think it's valid to have that kind of criticism if the coach or whoever is in charge making these decisions is repeating the mistake over and over?
Well, if he's making those decisions and the team is losing, hell yes, you do.
Yeah,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's pretty hard to find a lot of fault with what the decisions that Steve Kerr's made over the years, considering the record and what the team's been able to accomplish. So, but I do hope that Kuminga gets an opportunity to be, to get a little bit more time. I guess since Peyton's left, that.
Wait, who left? You mean Poole?
Huh?
You mean Poole?
Who?
Do you mean Jordan Poole? You just said Payton.
No, Poole. I thought that I read that he was leaving. Maybe he hasn't.
He's still on the team. He's still on the team as of now. Yeah.
I thought maybe, okay. You know what that was? There's one of those speculations. They were throwing his name into the hopper for a trade that could be made. That's what it was.
Maybe because he's going to make about $9 million next year, so his name has been thrown in for these hypotheticals. But he's still with the team. But Chris Paul, I'm dying to know what you think about his fit on the Warriors, and the reason why I'm very skeptical, and this is obvious, but again, I love your thoughts. A, he's 38 years old. B, he's 6 feet tall. So it doesn't help with the size issue. This reeks to me of the 2013 Lakers when they made a desperation move to get Steve Nash, who was also 38 years old that year. It didn't pay off. What are your thoughts on Chris Paul being with the Warriors?
Well, it will all depend upon how healthy he is, how healthy he stays, more importantly.
Right.
he could be healthy to start the season, but he's had a propensity to come up with injuries. Certainly
A lot.
the experience that he has is great. Um, Bringing somebody like him in to come off the bench to be able to play some, but is he going to play the Warriors brand of basketball?
Right.
Okay, because the Warriors brand of basketball is not ball dominant.
Correct.
Okay, and so it'll be interesting to see how he fits into that role.
Agreed.
So yeah, there's a lot of question marks with that. A lot of question marks.
And here's another one just to throw into the question marks. Mark Spears of ESPN reported that Chris Paul is, and who knows if this is actually true, but he's fairly credible. He reported that Chris Paul is going to start for the Warriors. Now, you and I think see this the same way, which is that Chris Paul, his value would be most ideal coming off the bench to help a second unit with a lot of young players like
Well,
Kuminga and
well, who
Moody.
the hell else is going to start then if he starts? So,
Kevon Looney.
so Steph Curry is going to be
No, Kevon Looney would go to the bench.
They're going to go super small.
Correct.
Wow, wow.
See, I don't like it. Yeah, see, that's how I feel too.
Wow.
This is where we
Draymond
are.
Green will be the center.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Draymond Green center. Clay's going to play 3.
Correct.
Steph's going to play 2, 1, and Wiggins at the 4.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah, agree. That's how I feel too. Wow.
Well, I'm just saying that'll be very, very interesting to see what teams do against that type of a lineup. Will they go and try to abuse Draymond, the guys that have a big guy, to stick him in the post and just post him up and get him in foul trouble and get him out of the game? But if that's not their brand or style of basketball, then they're trying to do something that they don't really do maybe that well. It's going to be that'll be fun to see. They're going to cause a lot of teams are going to have nightmares about thinking what kind of lineup am I going to put out there to go against that Warriors?
To defend that. Yeah, but the offense I don't think is what anyone's worried about, yourself included, it sounds like, but the defensive side and the fact that they're old and that's just a lot of wear and tear. I don't know. I'm not happy, honestly.
No, it's going to be very intriguing to see that, but well, he's intelligent enough to know how to play that brand of basketball and to play it. I mean, obviously.
Right.
But then when you're talking about, so who is going to be guarding who on this team? I mean, that's going to have to be a great concerted team defensive effort.
Right.
Because, you've got Wiggins who can play some pretty darn good defense and all individually, but that's total and completely team defensive situation now.
Right.
Yeah.
And I always echo your sentiments in that. Anytime I'm brought on as a guest for another show or I talk about defense, I always quote you and reference you in terms of your emphasis for team defense and how that is what is important, not the individual aspect of it. If you want to be successful, but with that said, I mean, look, the average height in the NBA for a player is 6'7". And the Warriors starting lineup is going to be diminutive. I mean, with that height, can team defense still be successful?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm encouraged.
Sure.
Well, I'm encouraged.
Sure, because
all right.
Well, yeah, it can be. Well, here's the thing: to beat that, I mean, you got small guys. You can jump switch everything.
Right.
Okay, so you can take away 3-point shots a lot. So that's going underneath. You just let's just jump it. Shit, and you jump out and take the guy. Nobody's getting that wide open 3.
Right.
And if you stop them from getting 3s, and maybe they're abusing you inside, but the game has changed. It used to be, the team that scores the most points inside the paint is usually the one that wins games back in the day. That's not the case anymore.
Correct.
And so now they got a bunch of guys that if they can knock down 3s and shoot 3s at a very high efficiency rate, hey, you're beating me up inside and getting your 2-point shots, but we're going down and getting 3s. The last time I checked, 10 3s is better than 20, it's just as good as 20. Well, 10 3s is just as good as 15 2s.
Correct. Exactly. The exact same.
So it does make for me, it would make for intriguing viewing. I'll be intrigued to see how teams deal with it.
Yes, sir.
The kind of defense they play. To me, I can only see it working if you're jump switching things.
Right. Right.
What you have to do with that lineup is you're going to make them have to beat you. It's interesting. Before it always be, you want to make the other team beat you from the perimeter. What the Warriors is going to be, you're going to have to beat us from inside. It really is an interesting dynamic.
It is. You're absolutely right. Steve Kerr is going to either look like an absolute genius or this might be the last year we see him as coach of the Warriors.
Well, here's the thing. There's still a whole lot of time left. Who knows if because somebody might want somebody like Chris Paul on a team, you never know. I mean,
Right.
you just never know. I mean, sometimes you do something to try to pull something else off, and nobody sees that, and it's kind of hidden. And that's what maybe you try. Who you don't know. We don't know.
Well,
Something else could possibly happen.
well, I love your thoughts on this, and I was going to present this basically as an entire angle on the next Locked On Warriors I host, which is that a lot of fans are very frustrated with the Warriors right now because they've done virtually nothing this offseason except re-sign Draymond Green, and that was expected. They
Oh,
added
wait a
Corey.
second. They got rid of Jordan Poole.
Right. What I'm saying in terms of free agency, in terms of free agent signings, like because right now they have 3 open roster positions still they need to fill, and so in terms of free agency, all they've done is re-sign Draymond and add Corey Joseph, who I think is a sound point guard, and it's to me a vast upgrade versus Ty
Well, where's he
Terrell.
going to play if Chris Paul's starting? Is he going to
Yeah,
be back up to Chris
he'll come
Paul?
off the bench, but
Yeah, no, I
but
understand. I understand that, but I'm just saying. Anyway, okay, so that's they got him. He's a nice player and all. But here's the deal: is that it does come down to what you're saying. It all depends on how does your bench going to do for you? You got to have a bench to play. The Warriors have always been successful when they've won championships because their bench performed at a high level of proficiency.
agreed,
You know,
100% agreed.
in some cases, during some of those years and everything, hell, the bench would come in and get a lead and play better than the starters. But you have to be able to at least hold fort, right? In other words, you can't have the bench come in and all of a sudden the other team gets 10 points on them real quick or something like that.
Right.
And so it's an important element. And you're right, they haven't been able to pick up some veteran people. I'm surprised. I think why. I think a lot of people and these other players are thinking there's other teams that are younger that I might be able to go to that I could possibly help to win a championship because the Warriors have gotten a little old. They really don't have any size.
Right.
So it may very well be that the allure of going to play for the Golden State Warriors is not what it once was. In fact, it is.
Possibly.
It isn't. It isn't. Let's
But
face it.
here's what I was gonna just to add to that. Here's my theory, and I'm curious to know what you think about this. Last year, the Warriors didn't really add anyone of significance with the veteran minimum either, and that's all they could offer to prospective free agents. They signed Dante DiVincenzo, but they got him on a mid-level exception. He would not have come for a veteran minimum. But what they did do is wait and then sign JaMychal Green from the buyout market. And look, JaMychal didn't pay off the way they'd hoped. Maybe it would have if he'd actually played a little more, but regardless, it didn't work out. But point is, do you think that what the Warriors are doing, they've struck out on Dario Saric. Their tallest player is 6'9". Mason Plumlee is another player who they missed out on. But do you think their strategy is to stay patient and wait for the buyout market? Because I can't think of anything else logically that makes sense besides what you said. Every player is just not interested anymore because they don't think this team's going to win the title. Do you think the buyout market? Do you think waiting for buyout market players is the strategy here? That's what I think. But
Strategy, they may not have any choice. So there's a big difference between having a strategy and doing what's the only thing left to do. Right?
You're absolutely right.
So who knows? Right now, you would have to say this team doing stuff with what they have. I don't see them having a chance to repeat as champions.
No, same. I don't either. Their tallest player is 6'9", Rick. What's going on there? Why do you think
Yeah,
they're
well, they're 6'9", but he doesn't. But he can't score.
correct? They're two 6'9" guys are not scorers. You're right.
I'm saying, but that's the problem. That was the problem they had against the Lakers.
You're absolutely correct.
Because when they had Draymond and Kevin and Kayvon on the floor, what Davis and LeBron just packed the freaking middle. Remember the one game where the Warriors shot unbelievable 3-point range? They destroyed the Lakers from 3-point range and lost the game. Why? The Warriors got 5 points at the free throw line. The Lakers got 25.
Right.
There's a 20-point differential from the free throw line. Why? Because they didn't go to the middle. There was nowhere to go, and they didn't attack. You have to have a well-balanced attack to win. You got to get points at the free throw line. You got to go to the basket, try to get them in foul trouble. You have to make some mid-range shots, and you got to hit the threes. I mean, you really do have to try and play well-rounded. That was one of the most one-sided games I've ever seen the Warriors play. I mean, they rarely ever went to the basket.
Yeah, that was
That's a game where I'm saying where a guy like Kuminga, to me, would have been a guy who was go tack the basket, man.
agreed. I wholeheartedly agree with you. I don't understand this Don Nelson philosophy again. I mean, I feel like me personally, this is what Don Nelson wanted. It was this small ball type thing. It didn't work. I feel like it's worked in recent years for the Warriors because they had two of the greatest shooters ever. But they're on. But well, at least one of them's on the decline. I don't understand this strategy. Do you want to? The big three. Who you're a head coach. You're the
Well,
coach.
let's get some of because we talked about stuff that'll probably be repetitive. So let's get some of these.
I was going to lead into that. D. Riley here actually was going to ask about the big three because Ice Cube came out publicly, and I wanted to get your sentiments, but we can listen to his question as well. Here's D. Riley.
Hey, Rick. What's your thoughts behind Ice Cube coming out vocally about the NBA and specifically Adam Silver with his perception that the NBA is not behind the big three? What's your thoughts on?
Well, first of all, I don't know all the particulars on it. If Cube feels that way, who I happen to like a great deal, he's really a terrific guy, a terrific person. And I'm appreciative of the fact he's given me a chance to stay around the game, do the coaching and all. And
Yeah.
Although my team, we lost the game, like, oh God, still haunting me from last week. But anyway, that's another story. If indeed the NBA is doing something like that, shame on them. I mean, seriously. I mean, just, take care of your own house, do what you got to do to keep the game where it needs to be, focus on all of that stuff. I mean, there's no way that the big three is a threat to the NBA.
Right.
I don't think in any way, shape or form. I mean, seriously. In fact, I would think that, except for the fact they're paying guys so much money or something now. I mean, for an opportunity for a guy to go ahead and play and stay in good shape and show up at training camp in good shape might not be a bad idea if I haven't played in the big three. Because I tell you what, it's not a boys' game.
Yes, sir.
It's a man's game. It's pretty physical. But
Dude, Tony Allen's in your league now.
Huh?
Tony Allen just signed up for the big three, right?
Oh, I didn't see that. Really?
Yeah, it was yesterday, I think, or today. Yeah, he's a grown man. Sure.
Yeah. So it's going to be. It's interesting, and they're working hard to try to do it. It's a different brand and fun style of basketball, during this time of the year in the summertime. But I don't see it. If anything, I don't know why they wouldn't just work together.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
This thing that they're doing, it's like it's like pickleball, which I'm really big into.
Yeah.
Finally, the pickleball people got together. I've been saying for the last few years, I said, have you people not learned your lesson from the history of sports in this country? I mean, do you remember the NFL and the AFL? Do you remember what happened? Do you remember hockey, what happened with the two leagues? Do you remember basketball, what happened? I said, my God, all you're going to do is spend a ton of money and you're fighting each other. Work together.
Yep.
Come on.
I love the big three.
They got the PPA, and then they have the APP. And I mean, you know what they do? Come together, work it out. Have the APP be the feeder league for the PPA, so the players can go there. It's like being in the minor leagues, right? You're playing down there, chance to go to the majors and work together. Have your tournaments in different cities. Don't ever compete against one another. I mean, seriously. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket science to figure that out, does it? I mean, seriously. Just work together. I mean, they could do stuff with the NBA. Why would they not work together? Come on.
It sounds very petty from the NBA's part of what I see.
Well, I don't know if it's true. I mean, I don't know. I do know that, under David Stern, the NBA wanted to always control everything. I mean, totally. And so, but I don't see where this is an issue. Summer, I mean, if anything, it's maybe competing or to go and watch the WNBA. I don't know. Maybe that's one of the reasons. I don't know. But hopefully they're not doing that. And, if Cube feels that they are, and then, then you have to work around it. I mean, like I said, you got to play the cards you're dealt. I can use cliches all day long. And so if you're dealt a bad hand, that's why you got to learn how to play bridge.
Well, and never mind the fact that the NBA's biggest issue right now, which Silver is in denial about, is this load management crap. You have players taking nights off left and right, and that's such a disservice to the fans. And Adam Silver thinks there's no issue there. I don't, but the big three is a problem apparently. That makes no sense.
Yeah, well, the issue with that is that there's, like I say, no way ever that a player who isn't legitimately injured should ever not play a game on the road, especially a Western Conference team going to the East or East coming to the West, because they only come one time, and that's strong on so many different levels. It just should never, ever, ever be allowed. Seriously. In fact, I think it should be mandatory that if you're going to give load management, you have to give load management at a home game.
I love that. I love that idea. It's a massive disservice to the fans to just have their stars just sitting out left and right when they're healthy. It's crazy, and it's showing. It's affecting attendance numbers. It's affecting ratings. And Adam Silver is pretending like there's no issue there. I don't understand it, but
Well, there is an issue, and the other thing that they should do is I don't understand. You people pay, and it's star power that works. Yeah, it used to be to promote the teams, but still, it's still the stars are on these different teams, and I think that if a guy plays and he gets his sixth foul, he doesn't foul out of the game. No,
okay.
You have a penalty. The other team gets the free throw, and they get the ball back.
Ooh, I like that.
But you keep the star player in the game. If you choose, the coach can choose to let him stay in the game, knowing full well if he commits another foul, okay, the other team gets their free throw, whether it's one or two, and they get the ball back.
I love
That's
that.
a major decision to make on the part of a coach.
I absolutely love that. Do you like by the way, the NBA is going to give coaches a second challenge if they're successful in the first. Do you like that rule change?
Definitely.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
See, I just had a big talk today with I was dinner on July 4th with my friend. He's not a big fan. He said, well, I don't like that instant replay and all that stuff. Here's me. I said, look, if you were a player and you ever were involved in something where you're putting your heart, body, and soul into trying to win a championship, that's what your goal is as a professional athlete. And you get a chance, especially in the playoffs, where you're getting down to the nitty gritty, and a call is made that's possibly human error, and it can be overturned or rectified by any type of electronic or technical device, I say use it.
Agreed. 100%. 100%. I'm with you. Absolutely. By the way, before we get to the rest of the questions, I don't know if I asked you this, but Rick, did you like the trade when it's all said and done? Jordan Poole and the two draft picks for Chris Paul?
Well, that's obviously probably all they could get. Well, because first of all, hey, they were unloading a big contract.
They were. And they tried to get OG Anunoby. That was reported. The Raptors said no. So you might be right.
Yeah, so I mean, right. Obviously, you don't think that they would have tried to get more? I'm assuming they tried to get more, and that's the best that they could get. And so whether or not it turns out to be a good trade or not is all going to depend upon who they choose with those draft picks or what they do with them down the road. But that just shows you, it shows you how that was a real issue.
Yeah. Yes, it was.
Because to only get that and to let go a guy that was a 20-point a game scorer that you just gave a big contract to, and you were still willing to get rid of him for a couple of draft picks, that tells you how critical it was.
No, Rick, they gave up draft picks. They didn't get draft picks.
No, I'm not talking about, I'm okay. Sorry. That's right. They gave up the draft picks. That makes it even worse.
They gave up Poole, their two of their draft picks from last year, and 2 future draft picks. So 5 assets total for 38-year-old.
For a 38-year-old who we don't know what he's going to wind up doing. So I mean, on the surface, it's all going to come down to what he does. Is he going to play well enough to be worth doing that? I don't know, because draft picks are important because it's all about the players, folks. I mean, I don't care. You just hope you get a coach that doesn't screw things up, but you have to get the right players. And the more choices and opportunities you have to make those selections, if you know what you're doing, the better the chance of rebuilding your team and keeping them to be a competitive team and to be able to vie for a championship. And so giving up draft picks, like you say, I mean, on the surface, I would say majority of people would say it wasn't a great trade.
Yeah, it was. I agree with you. It was I think it was almost entirely to get rid of that contract.
Yeah,
4 years, 120-something million, and the fact that he didn't get along with most of the veterans.
But thanks for correcting me, the senior mom. I forgot that they gave away the 2 draft picks. I mean, so that just makes it even more difficult to be able to rebuild because you have 2 less choices that you have to perhaps pull somebody if you really know what you're doing. That could be a real find that people overlook. And but I still am dumbfounded by the kind of choices some of these teams make for players who. And I don't watch it as closely. If I did, I'd probably go crazy over some of the choices that they make. But even some of the moves that they make when they pick players that you already know what they can and can't do, and you say, this guy has glaring weaknesses. Why the hell you want him?
Right, Rick. How many rounds of the draft were there when you played?
Oh, a whole bunch, like 5 or some stupid number. Yeah.
Is 2 a correct number for you now? Like, would you support adding a 3rd round? Like, do you like where it's at now?
Yeah, I do. I mean, because now you have 15 men on your roster. I mean, it's like 17 really, because you got two-way guys.
And possibly 3 two-way guys now with the part of this new CBA.
Oh, is that what it may be? Three
Yeah,
two-way?
yeah, and again, this goes to how ridiculously overcomplex it is. The 3 two-way spots, that's only going to exist if the majority of NBA teams have 15 players on their roster. If the NBA sees a trend where most teams are only filling 14 because they have that third two-way, they're going to revoke the third two-way. In other words, the NBA as a collective whole, the 30 NBA teams, has to average 14 and a half players on their rosters or more for the three two-way players to exist. Otherwise, they're going to revoke it and go back down to 2. Isn't necessary to make it that complex, but
Well, it
yeah,
is kind of strange because the thing is man, how do you make the choice between sending guys down or not? Because let's face it, if you've got the 13th, 14th, and 15th guy on a roster, he's not going to play very much.
right.
So, I mean, uh, would they allow them to have those, and then you send and those three and the two-way guys, send all 5 of those guys down to the G League?
Yeah, I mean, there's no rule against sending players on your roster to the G League, regardless of their status.
Well, my point being is that why do I want to have at least 3 guys or more? Because I'm being generous when I say only 3. I mean, 3 of the 15 down to go play in the G League with the two-way guys, and have 5 guys down there at least playing and being in shape and running the same system that
Right.
you're running, ready to go. Because the other guys might be at a disadvantage, that 11th and 12th guy, because he's not going to play very much. I mean, how many people go 12 deep?
Right. And again, in case you probably know this. I'm sorry, I'm just basic information, but the two-way players can only play 50 games at the most, and they're not eligible for the postseason. Just to add that caveat to it. Yeah. So, do you want to hear
Yeah.
from more folks?
Yeah, but that's the thing that I'm still saying. You still have the 15 guys who still can
Right.
go down and play,
Right.
right?
So you could have, in theory, 18. Yes.
And then you get the other guys. So now you can have, and you can send the team down there, probably the most of them.
Correct.
And then the other. Here's the thing. And then the G League guys, you just get a whole bunch of guys at minimum for what the G League salary is. I
Do
would
you
think
have?
from an economic standpoint, that would make the most sense. Then you're also cutting back down. Well, of course, it's not that big a deal because the guys are flying, charter planes and all, so it's not a big deal. You're not paying for first class tickets.
Right.
I mean, to me, that would seem to be the most sense. You got guys who will be in shape, playing, getting an opportunity to be ready to go. And then if they're doing really well, you can then pull them back up. And maybe that 11th or 12th guy that was playing, you didn't do well. Well, let's send him back down there. To me personally, if there was three two-way guys, I would send 6 guys down to the play in my team.
Do you have any thoughts on the 2 draft picks the Warriors selected? Do you have you done research, or are you familiar
No,
with either of them?
no, I'll talk to them after I see them what they play, what they do.
Sounds
I
good.
mean, and the first one they got everything he's hurt.
The second one, the
Well,
first
not
one
that.
was
I said one of the ones. The other guy got hurt.
yeah. So well, that's a weird thing too. They said that it was a hamstring injury, but then interestingly enough, like he wasn't under contract, and then they just announced a 4-year deal for Trace Jackson Davis. It makes me wonder if maybe the contract situation played a part in that, because the injury wasn't announced until literally like a minute before tip off.
Yeah, but did you read his history?
Trace Jackson, you mean in college? Yes, as a college player, he's exemplary.
Yeah, but he also had injuries.
Oh, I didn't know that. So he's not very durable, is what
No,
you're saying.
I was just reading about the fact that he had an injury, missed some things with his back here or whatever it was. There,
Oh,
blah blah blah.
oh,
So is this another one of these guys that's now all of a sudden he's got a hamstring pull, right?
oh! I hope not.
I
That
mean,
would suck.
yeah, I mean, that's always an unknown. I mean, you just never really know what's going to be what the case is going to be with that. I mean, who would have thought that would happen to Bill Walton would happen to Bill Walton and a whole bunch of other guys that had the injuries. Greg Oden. I mean, there's a litany of players that's happened to, and that's why these guys are so lucky to be getting these freaking 3, 4, 5 year guaranteed contracts. I mean, I was the second pick. I had to make the team. I never know guaranteed contract.
That's
They
crazy.
didn't know. They didn't give guaranteed contracts out to the draft picks back then.
That's incredible, man. Yeah, you missed out on a lot that these players take for granted now. I'm looking at Trace Jackson Davis's college career, and it looks like he played all his games. His sophomore year, he missed a few, but He played 32 games last year, so hopefully that means he is durable. But we'll
Yeah,
see.
well, hopefully he is. But I think before
Hope so.
he had something, and then I read something about him. Isn't he the one that got hit in the head? You know,
I didn't hear
he had
that.
brain surgery, and he had brain surgery. Wasn't he the guy that had as a young kid? Because he got hit in the head, and they had to do some brain surgery on him because there was I don't know. I thought I was reading. I thought that's who it was that I was reading about. But the bottom line, as I told you, I
You're
don't.
right.
I don't care what somebody did in college. It's irrelevant to me. If I watched him, I would tell you whether I like him as a player or not. I really didn't see him. I haven't seen video.
You're
My
right.
If I were to watch video of him, I would tell you. I could just watch a few things and tell you whether or not I think he has the one element, as you know, that I think characteristic and quality that is so essential. Does he have a natural feel for the game?
Right. And when you told me that you saw that in Kuminga from the 2021 Summer League, that melted my heart, sir. That was incredibly encouraging, and I do hope he gets a more of a run this year. I don't know how the Warriors are successful without Kuminga and Moses Moody. I like Moody too. Getting an actual role, getting real minutes.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that was weird. That was weird too because they were playing the two-way guys a lot, and then come playoff time, all of a sudden Moody was getting a lot of minutes.
yeah. Don't get me started on that. I'm going to play the music just because that drives me crazy. Let me ask you this, Rick. I would love your thoughts, by the way. Do you think the fact that Kerr would oftentimes play a two-way player like Anthony Lamb over JaMychal Green, do you think that plays a part in free agents turning down the Warriors?
I can't speak for the other people. I don't know what goes through their head. My only thing I would say that is that agents are looking and doing stuff, and guys at this stage trying to do something. A lot of the guys are going only for the money.
Right.
Okay. The guys who really care a lot and do have some ability or can bring something to a team are I would assume if they've not been on a championship team are hoping to get on one, because then some guys, when they get on them, now they're going after the money because they made the championship team and now it's about the money.
Right.
Never going to be the big star. And so if you evaluate it and just looking, as you know, as much as I love the Warriors and pull and root for them and want them to do well, I can't honestly say that looking at this team right now, the way it's structured, that I could say that they are a team that's in contention for being an NBA champion next year. I just can't. I can't honestly say that.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree with you. Yeah. Do you want to hear from the folks who?
Yes,
Here's a Shane Barkley.
Hey, Rick. My question has to do with the Warriors going for it all, trying to win a championship with an aging team. I'm curious, as you got into the latter stages of your career, what were the biggest challenges you had, and what were the types of things that helped you the most, whether it be physical stuff or younger teammates with energy, coaching, what have you? Thanks, Rick.
Yeah. Well, first of all, back in my day, we didn't have the things available to them that these guys have today. I would love to be able to be playing today and have a strength coach, an agility coach, a dietitian, all the other things that these guys have, which can just help you play at such a freaking level. I mean, as good as I was playing back then, I would be so much better right now. But I think the biggest factor when you get to that point is, to me, and then the money was nothing. I mean, like I said, the lowest paid guy in the NBA this year made twice as much money as I made in my best year, and he never plays.
Oh,
Okay?
four times. What you
No. Let's talk about the minimum salary guy, the lowest paid guy in the league.
Yeah,
Twice as much as I made in my best year, and he never plays. Okay,
but the minimum guys now I think make 1.9 million, and I think that's four times. Unless I'm
the minimum salary was not $1 million last year. I don't think it was 800 and something thousand, and plus they got other benefits on top of it. So I think the thing
for
was
two-way players, correct?
around $1 million maybe.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to go up because I heard that the salary cap's going up because they got more money on the team.
Correct.
So get back to the answering the question. For me, it was always about winning. It wasn't money. I mean, I tell people, I left the Warriors over $10,000. It was a matter of principle. I didn't want to leave, but I did have a chance to go to probably the most talented team I've ever been on, talent-wise. I mean, I was with two Hall of Famers,
Right.
Moses Malone and Calvin Murphy. Mike Newland, great basketball player, smart as hell. Rudy Tomjanovich. I mean, we had the talent was crazy, and so it came down to that. So, but the thing is, I did it because I thought I was also going to go there and play, and John Lucas was going to be the point guard, and I'd be the three.
And he got traded, right?
The general manager gave him up for compensation. You didn't have to give compensation. That was ridiculous.
Wasn't Dunleavy on that team
being
too?
the point guard for the team, basically?
Right.
assists and hardly shooting and, trying to help these guys out and just trying to win. So it was crazy. It shortened my career because I could have played 2-3 more years easily because I was healthy.
I'm sorry, yeah.
I hadn't felt so good. I hadn't felt so good in 10 years after my last season when I had my knee scoped and the doctor found something bigger than as big as a silver dollar and thicker wedged in the back of my knee. And he said to me, he says, "How did you play with this?" I said, "I didn't know it was there."
What was it? It was just
I
scar
felt
tissue?
so good. Oh my God. But I never got to play. So I wanted to win.
What was
So
that
I don't
thing?
know. I don't know what these guys are doing, but they have so much at their disposal to keep themselves. Jerry West had told me 28 to 32 will be your best years, but it's actually better than that now because of all of the sophistication of the training and the diet and everything else. So basically,
Right.
from 28 probably up to at least 34 or 35. I mean, and maybe even beyond. I mean, look at LeBron the year he had at 38 years of age. Why? He spends a fortune and he works out and does all of these things. So it shows you what can be done. And then
Right.
you got to be lucky that you don't have an injury because they're fluky things, right? You come down on somebody's foot, whatever it might be. Yeah. So the bottom line is that I think guys now, a lot of them are doing it for the money because the money's so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And there are those out there that are doing it to possibly, be on a championship team. And so it's up to the personnel, the people to pick the right personnel to be able to have a champion. And it all comes down to me, a feel for the game, unselfish, and an attitude about wanting to win and contribute to a championship team. And and if they have an ego and stuff, they have no business being on my team. I don't want them on my team if they got a big ego because it's no longer. I told players before, actually, the Warriors had me come in and talk. I said, look, if you want to make it work this year, guys, take your ego and stick it in the freaking closet because it's no longer you. It's not about you anymore. It's about this team and what you can do to help this team be successful and go out there and do it. And then it's up to the coach to hopefully put in the right kind of, because you call anything you have as a system, but the system should be totally predicated on the talent of, offensively, especially on the talent that you have.
Right.
And so many times that is not the case.
You played with Dunleavy's dad on that team too. Am I mistaken on that? Was he on
Yeah,
there?
Mike Dunleavy. Yeah.
Okay,
In fact,
gotcha.
one of the coaches told Mike, you're not a very good shooter and stuff, so I don't want you shooting the ball from out there. I said, what? What are you watching? I'm thinking to myself, are you watching the same player I'm watching? I think 2 years he got fired, and I think 1 or 2 years later, Mike either led the league in 3-point shooting or was one of the leaders in 3-point shooting. But he was told by his coach that he's not a very good shooter. I was told I can't run the pick and roll play. Seriously. I made a freaking living off the pick and roll play.
Right.
And it's still to this day is not run as effectively and as efficiently as it should be run. And boy, if I was on TV, they would hate me because I would break it down and just show you how bad it is.
I love your honesty, Rick. I absolutely adore it and respect it and dig it. Do you want to hear from LB?
Let's do it.
Here's LB.
Good afternoon, Rick and Cyrus. My question is about the young guys, Moody and Kuminga especially. It seemed like during the middle of the season they got playing time, and then when the other guys came back from being hurt, that their playing time diminished, and they really didn't feel comfortable out there finding a role for them. And I feel that
It just ended there.
Yeah, well, it was getting a little windy, but that's okay. We talked about this. I mean, if he's been listening, you've heard our answer to this.
Yeah.
I think they have no choice but to give these guys an opportunity and hope that they develop quickly.
Yes.
Quickly. I mean, that's the thing I was most disappointed in at the beginning of the season is that, we had the situation with Wiseman and all, and 3 of their top guys. I said, what the hell is going on here? I mean, one's not even playing. The other guys aren't getting time. The other guy's hurt. I mean, my God. I mean, and I think there was a statement that you brought up to me that I had when I read it or heard about it. What Bob Myers had said. Yeah, but you got to play a guy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And that was I think the first really clear sign there was something wrong behind the scenes when Bob Myers literally said, "What's the point in signing a big if your coach isn't going to play him?" That was. And just to clarify, LB, Moses Moody was Kaminga was playing in the regular season. Moses Moody was not.
Moses during the regular season. That's what I'm saying. He hardly played at all.
Yeah.
He's playing
Yeah.
the two-way guys. And next thing I know, in the playoffs, all of a sudden he's in there playing 20 minutes or more a game.
No, it's crazy.
Well, I was happy for him. I mean, he's a nice player, but they got to get some guys developing really quickly. And then the whole big thing is now, what are they going to do with those extra roster spots? Are they going to be able to pick somebody up that's got some experience that can be a bona fide addition to the team to help them be successful? They were able to do that so often. I mean, you hope now that maybe Chris Paul will be kind of like what Andre Iguodala was for the team back in the days, who came here as a big name guy, came off the bench, and then the same thing with what's his name? I'm going to draw a blank on his name. The lefty,
the new lefty, Brandon Podziemski.
The forward for the Warriors back in those days, who was a starter and was willing to come off the bench. In fact, I actually have a card that I'm trying to get him signed.
Lefty. I mean, I know that Sean Livingston, Andre Iguodala.
Well, Sean did a great job, Iguodala, but even before that, Sean.
Oh, David West.
David. No, David West was a good guy. Another one that added to that, but it was. The white guy from Wales. Yeah.
Why am I drawing a blank on his name too?
Yeah, I know. So am I. I'm drawing a blank on his name.
Oh, I think that's driving me crazy. He was actually integral. I mean, he was there through a lot of dark days. Hold on, I got to look that up now.
Go ahead and look that up. It'll pop. I said if I didn't get it, I'd call you 2 a.m. when I wake up thinking about it. David Lee.
David Lee, thank you.
Oh, see, I'm not that old. I can still pull it out. Way to go, Rick.
Here's Taylor Duvicus.
Hey, Rick, if NBA players don't have to go through the grind of an 82-game season, how late do you think that they can play at a high performance level in the Big Three?
Well, there's some guys that are playing pretty darn good. Joe Johnson's kicking butt. I mean, he's still in great shape and doing a really good job.
How's that kid you were talking about who played for the Motor City team?
Jalen Johnson. He's nice. I like him. I mean, this guy can pass. He can shoot the 3-point shot. He's nice. I mean, I'm kind of shocked, to be honest with you, that some team doesn't have him on their roster.
Same.
Because he has some really nice skills and a really good guy. But what I love about him, just especially for the way the Warriors play, he makes backdoor cut passes for guys. I mean, man, there's nothing like having a good passing big man. Just look at the Joker. Jeez. I mean, he's made some. I've seen this kid make some passes to some of the highlight stuff that were unbelievable. And I just have to have an opportunity to get him, play a little bit more, depending upon the opposition when we're going to be doing it. But I like it. I like guys. He can knock the 3 down and put it on the floor, finish strong. He's 26. He's strong. I mean, he made a couple of great moves defensively. I mean, hell, he recovered on one shot and came over and blocked somebody's shot that, my older center would have never been able to do that. I mean, he just wouldn't have been that quick and wouldn't have had the agility and the quickness to do that. So, yeah, no, I like him. I like him a lot. Hopefully he gets a chance to do something, and hopefully he'll continue to contribute to what we're doing, and we'll see where it goes. But I'm really kind of dumbfounded when I saw that and saw that he was available, and I just don't understand it, because I see some people go out on the floor playing for some of these teams, and I'm going, my God, these guys have glaring weaknesses. I mean, glaring weaknesses.
There's so much incompetency in charge of things. Here is Rob W.
Hi, Rick. My name is Rob. I'm curious if you thought the coaching for the Warriors this year was up to snuff. Were there errors that Coach Kerr made, or are the other teams just getting better? I'd like to know your thoughts. Thank you.
First of all, every coach makes mistakes. I mean, nobody's perfect. You're going to make mistakes.
You wouldn't if you're head coach.
And here's the thing. Sometimes great players can overcome your mistakes, okay? At times. So, every coach is going to make a mistake. But I think the second part of what you said is probably the most appropriate comment, and that is that of being better. And the talent is getting better. The Warriors are getting a little bit older. And they didn't have the personnel that they've had in the past from 1 to 10, or at least 1 to 10 that weren't as good as what they were in the past, and that's where it all falls into. At least that 1 to 10. If you can go 1 to 12 with guys that are comparable ability, that's what our team was so good, is that we had a whole bunch of guys on our 12-man roster, that could play it. And so if somebody wasn't doing good, Al was, not hesitant to put somebody else in and see what he was doing. And I think hopefully Steve will have that luxury to do that with the time that Moody got and all. He'll feel more confident being able to put them in. And so if Clay's coming out and he's not shooting the ball well or whatever, boom, you stick somebody else in there and give him an opportunity to do it. You can't just go too far, even with your great players, because every of them have been like Al with me. Hell, Game 7, Western Conference Finals, 1975, took me out of the game halfway through the third quarter at home. Think about that. What coach is going to take his top player out of a game and play a seventh game in the playoffs?
Why?
Keep me out for the entire rest of the quarter and into the fourth quarter.
Why? What was the justification?
Because I was like 2 for 14. I couldn't put it in the ocean. I was terrible. And the other guys did a great job. We had a double-digit lead, deficit that we were facing. He took me out. When he finally put me back in, we were only down 6. Okay, and fortunately for me, I played the last part of that fourth quarter the way I wish I had played the entire game. So
it happens. It happens, Rick.
It happens, but again, that was a huge decision, to have made. But yeah, they make mistakes. I think if Steve could probably go back. Every coach can go back and watch every game. Why the hell did I do that, man? I should have done this. I should have done that. Go back to, to the Warriors, all kinds of stuff when they lost the series to Cleveland in Game 7. That was a giveaway. I think.
Yeah,
I do think that was a giveaway. And of course, the worst thing of all was the BS that the NBA suspending Draymond for what took place. I go to my grave fighting that one. My God, LeBron should have been charged with a freaking flagrant foul for throwing Draymond down to the court like he did and then stepping over him. Taunting and stuff. What the hell is that? That was horrible. And if that whistle had blown and they called the foul when he threw him down, what happened? Draymond's never would have occurred. He never would have gotten thrown out. And if he doesn't get thrown out, the Warriors don't lose that series. It's that simple.
It is that simple. You're right. I wholeheartedly agree with you. Your buddy Kiki Vandeweghe is the one who issued the punishment. Have you ever brought that up with them and asked why? Or
no, I haven't been around and been doing
okay.
Everything. I'll keep it in the back of my brain right now, in the back burner. When I do see him, I'll jump his ass over it.
Or even bring him on the show. That'll be one hell of a guest.
Yeah, no, that'd be good. Maybe I'll do that because he's kind of sitting back, not doing much. And maybe I'll get him on sometime and talk to him about it.
That would be amazing.
Good idea. I'll get Kiki on the show and I'll hit him with that question.
Right. Here's a couple more. Some of the questions are about the draft and stuff. We're going to skip those. Here's Lee Stambolis.
Hey, Rick, if you look at the Warriors' current roster, what do you think the Warriors need to add to become contenders for an NBA title this coming season? Thanks, Rick.
Well, I personally, I think they need to get somebody that could be a little bit of a rim protector for them, and some size. Just if nothing else, just to be able to match up some. I would think that would be the number one priority. They're so small right now. We just talked about that earlier in the show. Although that's going to make it very intriguing. I'm looking forward to seeing what teams do against them and what kind of lineup they put in. Do they put it in and try to match them, or do they go with what they have and say, you guys have to worry about us?
Right.
And I think if I was the other opposing coach, I'd say, well, hell with that. You got to worry about us. What are you going to do to stop us with that bullshit team you have out there?
Yeah, right.
Well, hey, but seriously, Cyrus, think about it. Just think about over the years. Just think. I remember I was watching when Brent was playing, and they had Muggsy Bogues who was in the league, right? Spud Webb and these guys.
Right.
Brent's in the game, who's 6'7" with long arms. He's got tremendously long arms and stuff. Can play in the post, can pass the ball. If he was playing for me, the moment Muggsy Bogues came to the game, I would have it known when we were playing them. Okay, guys, here's what we're going to do. The time when Muggsy comes in, here's what we're doing. We're posting Brent up. Okay, I'm posting Brent up every time against Muggsy. Let's let him wear him out.
Absolutely.
Right? Because what's going to happen? You got to double. Well, now you're doubling. You got a guy who's a great passer. So you're going to get all kinds of open shots.
Yep.
So instead, they let him come in, up-tempo, do stuff, and now he disrupts your team, and try to get screwed up and playing that style with him in there. No, you're paying a price if you're bringing that little guy in the game. I'm sorry. And teams never did that.
Yeah, it's
our team. And the same way I remember when Baron Davis was with the team, we were on a cruise together. And I said, Baron, I'm going to tell you something, man. If you were playing for me, when you were in the game, he was a big, strong guy, right?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Pass. I said I would have posted you up so often on your team because you would
Right.
have killed those guys down in there. And then you've got the freedom to pass it out. So if they double you, we're going to get all kinds of easy shots. See, to me, when I coached in the minor leagues, I had two guys that were six. One guy was 6'2", one was 6'3". They were a beast in the post, a beast. And I posted them up all the time. It doesn't matter. You're going to have an inside game. It doesn't have to be a 7-footer to give you an inside presence.
I personally, I'm a small dude, especially by NBA standards. I'm average height in real life, 5'10". But when I played basketball, even though I was small, I developed a post game early, and I loved it. I love playing in the post. I feel like that's a lost art in the NBA today. I don't know if you agree with that.
I don't understand why they didn't work in having LeBron do more posting up with his strength at all. And then the other guy that's crazy that they hardly ever did post up was Dirk Nowitzki.
Yeah.
Who's a great free throw shooter. Why would he not have developed an incredible post up game?
He's 7
Because if
feet
you
tall.
put one of these little guys on him, he can shoot over him stuff. But now you just post them up all the time.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I'm 100% with you.
This game is not complicated, Sirius. There's 5 guys on the court. Cyrus, I mean, that's serious. Cyrus, down this court, it's 5 guys. I mean, how much complexity can there be? It's not 11 guys on a football field. You know, it's a smaller court. There's only 5 people on it. There's only a certain number of things that you can do.
Yep.
And it's not really overly complicated, and yet we try to make it overly complicated.
Agreed.
Sometimes they try to make it too simplified, and there's too much, give the ball to this guy, go one-on-one. I mean, God, that's so,
I 100% agree with you. I've got a couple more here. Here's Jim Cleveland.
Hey, Rick, do you look at the Denver Nuggets as a type of team that will make an extended run year in, year out in contention for multiple NBA championships?
Yeah, without question, if they keep most of their personnel or replace some of the guys they're losing. But it was quick to see somebody take off and leave because he had that championship, and all of a sudden there was some more money laying out there. And so, well, I got my championship rings. I'm going to go get them some money.
Yep.
And hey, that's up to them. To me, they have so much money now. Your life is already set when you're already a multimillionaire. I mean, to me, I just still can't get it through my head, and it always will bother me. I never would have made the decision. Shaq and Kobe, crazy. I mean, the multiple championships those guys could have won if they stayed together. Crazy. Yeah. And then the other one right up there running 1A and 1B is Kevin Durant to leave. My God. Oh my God. You want to talk about that's even better than the Kobe and Shaq deal. I mean, I would have paid for so much less. I mean, I didn't play for a lot of money anyway, but my God, to be on that freaking team, to play with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson at the 1 and the 2, and to have Kevin Durant playing the 4. I mean, and I could play, and I would be the 3 on that team. I would think I died and went to heaven.
Yeah, it sucks he left. I'm sure he regrets it, but he had his reasons.
Well, it hasn't worked out too well.
No, and not at all. Not at all. We'll see what happens in Phoenix, but yeah. Here's
that turned into a disappointment again this year as well.
Now,
Brooklyn was a disaster.
It was, but I do like what they're doing. First of all, I love Devin Booker. I think Devin Booker is a fantastic player. He's going to get his rings, I think, or at least a ring. But do you like Phoenix the way they're constructed now? They got Bradley Beal in that big trade. They still got DeAndre Ayton, so I feel like they got a great team.
It all depends on how well, not much is a bad word, how well they merge and mesh together and become a team committed to winning, and again, put their egos in the closet.
Right.
Play Warriors style basketball, which basically is basketball 101. That's the way I was taught to play. Pass, move, cut, make the defense have to make decisions, make it difficult on them, and have players who are smart enough to capitalize on it. So I even tell my players today when I'm coaching now in the Big Three, guys, we're only running this set so we know where we're going to be, but then everything is predicated, especially 3-on-3, predicated on the defense.
Right.
Take what the defense gives you. Know how to set your man up. I mean, that's one of the things my son Canyon was great at moving without the basketball, and John was great doing that as well. But I taught my guys, we were taught how to play the game, and playing the game right way is learning how to play without the ball properly on both offense and defense.
Right. No, you're
And you can get so many easy baskets, especially 3-on-3, because the court's wide open. I pull the other team's big man out because I have two big guys who can shoot the three, and they both can pass, but one of them, Jalen, can really pass it. And I'm trying to get my guys, and we've got a couple, but not as many as I think we should get as far as setting your man up properly to be able to do the back cuts and get those easy baskets. And that's the fun part of the game for me is you play head games with the other guy. You just screw his head up so bad. And, then you get him and you do one thing and you get him with the back cut. Next thing you know, I did do back cut. Hell, he's falling backwards. Now I go wide open. I got a shot. I mean, it's fun. It's fun to play.
It is a crime that NBA teams have not utilized your knowledge of the game. It's insane to me. It's a crime. Are we going to see Canyon play for his dad in the Big Three?
No, because he's on the USA National 3. They almost won the gold with the World Cup again this year. I mean, Burdette's on the team. Cyrus, I've never seen a ball so far into the basket that somehow came out. And if that shot had gone in, the Jimmer shot, they were up 19-15 to the best team in the world, Serbia, in 3x3, and the ball came out. And it's 21's the game. And so if it goes in, it's a 2-point shot from outside there.
So that was a game-winning shot.
The game's over. They win the gold medal.
That's what it came down to?
Oh, yeah. No, then the ball comes out of the basket.
Oh, my God.
And then Kareem Maddox, who's there, he goes up to get the rebound. The other guy in the other team grabs his arm and pulls it down. It hits this hand and goes out of bounds. They give it back to the Serbian team.
No foul.
No foul. And it would have been foul. 2 free throws for Kareem, who's a good free throw shooter, could have been the game, right? No foul. Then they have another play, and they come, and Canyon gets a pass from Jimmer, who tries to go in. He throws it to Canyon. He had a little short, like 6-footer, but that wouldn't have been the game. It would have been 1 point. And also, he went to go and get fouled, and he did. I mean, he got freaking hammered. I mean, just bodied to death. And they didn't call the foul.
No call. Oh.
The ball gets knocked out to one of their guys at 3-point, and they don't get out, and he makes a 2-pointer. So now it's 19-17, and then they wind up getting another one when the guys didn't get a shot, and the guy's wide open, and he knocks one down instead of going out. Don't let him get it. They should have run out there, make him go by you. Don't give him a 2. And so he makes that one, and then they turn the freaking ball over. It was so sad. I mean, they should have won. But anyway, that's what he's doing, and he kind of gave up on the thing with the 5-on-5. I mean, it's hard when you're playing and you've got stats, your free throws, your field goals, and your 3-point shooting percentages are better than guys up on the parent team.
Yes,
who are making $6 million a year, and you can't even get a 10-day contract.
Yeah, this league is just full of nincompoops in charge.
Well, no, what it is, I really found is that so many of these general managers don't want to ever admit they made a mistake.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, there's the ego. That's ego, and that is ego, and I'm such not a fan of that. Anyways,
I'm looking forward to seeing what's happening. I'll try to catch something and watch when they're playing, and try to watch the new Warrior guys and give you my thoughts. And
please, yeah, I'd love your thoughts, especially on Brandon Pajemski, just because he was the first-round pick. He's a little more raw, but he shot 43% from beyond the arc, playing at Santa Clara, and he averaged nearly 9 rebounds a game as a 6'5" guard. So, I mean, there's some things to be excited for there. He played in the California Classic, this exhibition tournament. Did so his first game, better second game. I would love your thoughts on him. Yeah, I can't wait to hear that.
We'll check him out and see what he is. And what he does now doesn't have any bearing on anything at all. It's just what he does when the season starts and how he develops as the season progresses. That's going to be the most important element for it. But I'll be looking forward to seeing what they do with those roster spots that they have, because right now, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think that they have a roster that can vie for a championship.
Understood with you. I'm with you. Yeah. Agreed. Yeah, they're just too old and too small. And they're not deep enough. They don't have the depth. They have issues. Do you want to get one more question, or are we done?
Yeah, sure. Let's get
one more. Okay, here is Greg to finish it up.
Hey, Rick. Big money. Used to be a game. Money everywhere. Things moving really fast. New leagues forming. Big Three, for example. college sports going crazy, NIL, transfer portal, coaches moving this and that direction. What's driving all this? When are we going to see saturation, and when are we going to start to see fallout?
Okay.
Well, I think you're already seeing fallout. I mean, it's really gotten kind of nutty. I still can't. I just can't even fathom. I can't even comprehend the kind of money that these guys are getting to play basketball for one season. It's just beyond my comprehension, beyond anything that my wildest imagination could have ever come up with. It is nuts. It's absolutely nuts. The NIL thing is crazy. There's a kid playing at the University of Miami who wore my jersey this year. They gave him my jersey.
By accident, right?
I would hope so. I mean, my jersey's retired.
Right. I think that's
Okay.
what he said, right? Or that's what they explained to you?
They put the number on him and they said, "Oh, we're going to put a thing, a patch with your name on and everything." I said, "Look, I know you took your photos and everything. That's whatever."
Okay.
He made more money this season playing for my alma mater than I made in more than my first 3 full seasons playing in the NBA.
Oh, I'm sorry, Rick. That's rough.
No, you don't have to apologize. I'm just saying this just shows you
Yeah,
how
but I feel
crazy.
bad. I mean, you're one of the all-time greats.
Yeah,
And the
but it
fact that
doesn't. It's irrelevant. That was my time. That's what happened. I'm
I
not
know, but
those guys. But I'm just saying how crazy it is. It's just
But
the
you built,
insanity.
this. Like most people don't realize free agency exists because of you. I mean, everything is built off what happened in the past, and for the NBA, for these players to be making this kind of money, and a lot of them take it for granted. But it's built off the work of players like you, and it just sucks that you didn't make the kind of money they did. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, well, timing's everything in life. That's what it is. But
That's true.
I had a great time.
That
Would I
is
do it
true.
over again? Yeah, hell, I would. And I told people, I mean, I would. And if I don't live in the past, but if I had something to do over again, I would not have left the Warriors as long as I know I can be where I am now and have the wife that I have, the son that I have, the friends that I have. But everything in life happens for a reason, and if I had done something different, I would have screwed up the space time continuum, and things would
Oh man, you are a legend, sir. When can we watch the next Big Three game? I'd love to watch.
Well, they have them on. We haven't been on TV yet. They put usually a couple of games on. Have been on at CBS on the weekends. We had
Right.
2 so far: Chicago and Dallas, and we're in New York coming up at Arthur Ashe Stadium this coming Saturday. We play, and yeah, so it's we play Sunday, not Saturday. We play Saturday.
But not televised though.
Play Sunday, but they usually only have 2 games. But they're streaming them. They're streamed, I think, on big3.com or someplace.
Okay, there we go. All right, I want to see this.
You can get to see the other games, and hopefully you'll see. I really was really pleased. In fact, a lot of people came up to me and said, "Wow, you guys played so well," and we did. We shot the hell out of it, but we played good, unselfish, smart 3x3 type of basketball: pass, move, cut, do the things you need to do. And shot ourselves in the foot in the other game. We played so poorly at the start of the game, and we came back from an 8-point deficit to be only down 2 at halftime, and then we were up 42-40 going to a game of 50. And unfortunately, we had a missed free throw, so that was 2 points that we lose on that. So instead of being up 44-40, and then here's the one that I'm going to tell you about. This is they got to change this rule and stuff. I think it's in basketball the same way, in regular basketball. So my guy Jody Meeks is driving to the basket, and it looked to me like maybe he got fouled. Ball went out of bounds. They give us the ball. Gilbert Arenas, former Warrior, but Gilbert is coaching the other team. He challenges the call.
Really? You're okay.
So they review the call. They review the play. Perfectly obvious. Jody gets freaking fouled and grabs his freaking arm. I mean, that's why the ball hit him going out of bounds. So they blew the call in the first place. It should have been their ball, but first of all, they blew the foul. It should have been a foul on them with Jody getting a free throw for 2 points. As it is, they watch the replay. They overlook and disregard the fact that he got fouled for the ball to go out of bounds. He gave the ball back to the other freaking team at the end of the game when it was a critical freaking possession. I mean, I'm going, are you kidding me? And I talked to the head of the officials. I said, look, I understand what that is. I said, but the worst case scenario should have been, okay, listen, we blew the foul. That's what caused the ball out of bounds. So we'll just let the play stand as it is and give the ball back to the ball hogs, which is what they should have done. But they didn't. They ignored the fact that the foul caused the ball to go off my guy and missed the foul and rewarded the other freaking team for it. That's wrong.
That is wrong.
That's wrong. Because I have if you can correct a mistake, a human error that's made, then it should be corrected in all sports. That's
Agree.
why I love
Wholeheartedly agree.
tennis with the challenges on the line calls.
I'm
Because
100% with you. 100%
yeah,
with you.
because I'm watching Wimbledon now, and all there was a call the other day. I'm telling you, that ball, it was so. I mean, the most minute portion of that ball in the shadow was showing that it did touch the service line, so the ball was good. But it's crazy. I mean, because the human eye can't see that stuff. So I love that kind of stuff. And so
Yeah.
anytime they go and you can get a replay to definitively show what actually transpired. And if it overrules the human error on the call, then by God, it should be done. 49ers lost the Super Bowl because of it.
Oh, which Super Bowl are you talking about? Which one?
Well, there was something that happened that they should have, done, and they just didn't. The review was about something, and they missed it. They missed the play.
Gotcha. I remember in '98 they benefited from a lack of replay. Jerry Rice fumbled it, but the refs missed that. But I'm with you. I'm a fan of replay. I don't. If you can correct it, why not correct it? I'm totally with you. By the way, I'm at the website right now. It's big3.com, and that's where people can check out highlights, information. I'm sorry, you cut out there for a second. Apologize. What? Oh,
I love Leandro is such a great person. One of my favorite pictures that I've ever had taken of me doing something. I'm going to see if I can hold it up to the camera. Oh, I can't because I'm on the phone here. It's a picture of him with our foreheads are touching after a game. The guy is unbelievable. I mean, and he's still quick as could be. You get into the basket at 40 years of age. My God,
incredible.
But such a good person. I was really happy for him with his opportunity to go with Sacramento, and the Sacramento team's going to be a tough team. Malik Monk, and he really has improved this game. I saw him play in college. My son played against Kentucky when he was at Florida, and I got to see Monk there. But he's become a nice outside shooter. He attacks the basket really well. Nice talent, really nice talent. A nice young man. I met him at a card show up in Sacramento. But I'm hoping to see
I saw
these
that.
Warriors do it.
I saw that picture, and Rick, the picture you're talking about with you and Leandro having this sentimental moment. People can see all that on your Instagram account, and you have the same handle for all social media. It's at Rick24Berry. There's a new social media app out called Threads. You're going to be on there as well. Regardless of what it is, at Rick24Berry. And I recommend people follow you on Instagram because those pictures are there and they're awesome, including the Malik Monk picture and you with Leandro. So
Yeah.
good stuff.
All right. Well, listen, everybody. Enjoy your summer. When we feel that it's apropos to possibly come on the air again to talk about some things, if some really transpire and take place, we'll come up and give you our thoughts on it. Meanwhile,
yeah, and just to let people know,
Cyrus is going to continue to be an expert in the salary cap issue.
Going to try. But just to let people know real quick, if you're watching this live right now and you missed the beginning, we repost all these. Either subscribe to the Rick Berry Show on any podcast platform. We're also on YouTube. We repost it there. So just search Rick Berry wherever you go, and the show will come up. So Rick, this is always a pleasure for me.
We
sir.
also
Thank
got to
you.
tell the people, go to medicaleaf.com, 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 or go to aloemd.com, ALOEMD.com, and to Go Sleeves, GOSLEEVES.com. And just read about them there. This, Kinesio tape is in the Go Sleeves. Unbelievable product. I use it all the time when I'm playing my pickleball. I never play pickleball without them on my knees. The sleeves they have for knees. They've got it for your calf, Achilles, elbow, whatever. Awesome product. The runners are going nuts over this stuff. You can read about it on the site. Read about AlloMD and our new Ultra Repair X product. That's the people in the pickleball world are just absolutely loving this stuff. These guys come in and get all lathered up and whatever, to go out and play. Awesome product. I live every day with that stuff. And Medicinal Leaf actually provides the cannabinoids to go into the AlloMD product. And they also have some other products. They have a Platinum Pro Sab that I've never seen anything else with, like 5,500 milligrams of a combination of cannabinoids. That's really awesome. So give it a try if you got aches, pains, or whatever, and read about it, and put RB, my initials, RB, small r, small b, 24 into the code for all three of those sites, and you will get a very nice discount. I hope that the products work for you as well as they work for me, and it's great.
And I'm glad they simplified the promo code, so now it's the same one for all three. RB24.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Made RB24
Beautiful.
for all of them. And then I'm working. I got another one that I'm doing stuff with, snoring device that actually helps snoring. 65% of men and 45% of women in the world snore. This has 91% effectiveness for snoring. It's pretty remarkable.
Okay.
And I'm going to have to get something, for that, to throw that out there for people to have an opportunity to get some of that. But anyway, life is good. I'm excited. And look forward to the next show, and God bless everybody,
Yes,
and
sir.
hope you and your families have a beautiful, blessed summer.